recorded live. Oh, goodness. On the spot now. Anyway, guys, welcome to the HorrorQuest Podcast. Back after a few months, been gone for a little while. You might notice that flying a little bit solo today. My friend Jesse Cash, a.k.a. Cash Money, is not here today. He is off doing family-oriented things because it is near Christmas time, and I don't know if this episode will go up before or after Christmas, but we should have a Christmas episode coming pretty soon. So sorry that we haven't done a show in a while. After the film festival was over, we kind of everybody just needed a little bit of a break, and I think we were all a little bit tired after everything that went down, but everything went good. Hopefully on the Christmas episode, when we get Jesse Cash back, we'll talk a little bit more about everything that went down, and hopefully our volunteer Tiffany should be coming on, and she'll have some reviews and stuff like that. But today we have a very special guest, somebody who I've been looking forward to talking to, because I said in, I believe it was episode 3, that after watching him and Down the Road, that he's my current man crush, and that is totally not a sexual thing. I just want to say that right now, but he definitely won me over as his portrayal of Hunter-ish and Down the Road, and seemed to win everybody else over. Pretty much everybody I talked to at the film festival all said that they loved him in the movie and pretty much stole the movie. But we are joined today by Mr. Brian Gallagher. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Joe. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man? I hope you don't feel weird now that I said that you're my current man crush. So.
No, man. I love it. It's good in a completely platonic way.
Cool, man. I was looking forward to getting you on. I thought you were really good in the movie, and sadly, you really only had really one speaking part, or really one scene where you actually got to talk.
Yeah.
Of course, at the beginning of the movie, because that was you at the beginning as well.
Right.
You look a lot different without your beard, but you really only have two speaking parts in the movie. Once at the beginning, and then once kind of closer to the end of the movie, that scene with you in the cabin.
Right.
Before we get talking about Down the Road, I just wanted to get a little background on you. Where are you from?
I am from Havertown, Pennsylvania, about 15-20 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Oh, okay, right on.
Born and raised, and I left for a little bit, lived in Wilmington just for a couple of years, and now I'm back in Havertown again. So I've lived my entire life just a few miles from the same area.
Did you go to school out there?
Well, yeah. I mean, I went to high school out here, and then I went to one semester of college in Ohio. Then decided college wasn't for me, and then years later, in my late 20s, I decided to go back to school and did community college, and then ended up going to Westchester, Pennsylvania, which is half an hour from here. So.
Did you study? Was it acting that you were studying? Is that what kind of?
Actually, the only acting that I studied was in community college. When I went back to school, and the cheapest way to do it was to go to community college, and I started taking some classes there, and then I decided I wanted to try a couple acting classes because I had done, I think, one play in high school, and that was it. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. Once I took the acting classes in community college, I loved it, and I think I was just in one play there and directed one play, and then when it was time to move on to get my degree at a 4-year college, I tried to decide between acting and some other things, and I eventually decided to go for social work, actually.
Oh, okay.
So when I went to Westchester, I got my bachelor's and then my master's in social work, and I basically gave up acting for the next 10 years.
Oh, goodness. Talking of acting, what actually got you interested in acting? Were you kind of interested in it as a kid? I know a lot of actors have those stories of, kind of being the entertainer in the family. Was that kind of you?
Maybe a little bit, but not really. I was more of an athlete. I was more just totally absorbed with sports. But I think I got lucky in that the grade school that I went to, I wouldn't say they were totally into the arts, but they were somewhat supportive. Like we had to do a couple plays each year as a class, and everyone had to take a part. So I definitely was on stage a few times as a kid, although I really enjoyed it. It wasn't kind of my main focus, but it was cool. I was like, oh yeah, I like this. This is good. But I guess I hadn't given too much thought about it. Maybe once in a while I thought like, oh yeah, that could be fun to pursue that, and then I just got wrapped up in sports and other things and never really thought about it too much. Actually went through a period, I think, from about 13 to 17 where I wouldn't be caught dead doing anything like that. I think I would have been terrified during the high school years, you know.
Kind of like that whole drama. I mean, it sounds politically incorrect to say it, but it's kind of what they said at my school, like drama fags, you know, kind of had.
Well, you know what? To be honest, it wasn't as much that as it was I was terrified. It wasn't because I looked down on them. It was because I went through this period as a teenager where, even though I was kind of playing sports and maybe in some ways I was considered one of the cool kids, I was also like kind of terrified to really be up there and kind of exposed in that way. So it was less about thinking they weren't cool and more about thinking that I wasn't cool enough to do that.
So it wasn't really a social thing. It was more of a, you almost kind of say it was like a fear-oriented thing.
I think so. Kind of like an internal lack of confidence thing. And then by my senior year, I basically had gone through this tough period and went to 3 different high schools. And by the time I got done all that, kind of came out the other side and started challenging myself to do hard things. So by my senior year, I actually forced myself to be in the school play and ended up getting an award for it. So it paid off, and that's kind of what kick-started my love of acting again. But then it was years later until I got back into it again.
Well, yeah, you said that you took it was like 10 years where you weren't acting. What kind of motivated you to? Because I'm guessing this is kind of like your career. This is kind of like what you're hoping to be your career. You're hoping to be a living working actor, correct?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's actually what I've been doing almost exclusively for the past 2 years. I had a little stint where I had to take another job and get into sales for a couple months, but I absolutely hated it. So at this point in my life, it is it's all I'm doing, but it's week to week. I mean, my wife and I are struggling to pay the bills, and being a living working actor in Philly is not that easy. But I'm doing it. I mean, I supplement the income with voiceover work, which is pretty high paying, and then I do a fair amount of indie films, and every once in a while I get a commercial.
Oh, really?
So, what's that? Yeah, I know. I was just going to say, so, I did the community college thing, and then I decided to become a social worker, and I did that for a number of years, and then got to a point where they actually wanted me to be the director of this particular program I was working for. And I thought, man, if I take this is kind of a lifetime position, and I'm just not that happy doing what I'm doing. And I ended up quitting. I quit that job, and I was actually teaching too, and I quit that and took a year off and just kind of traveled and thought a lot and decided that I wanted to try acting. So it took me an entire year to kind of get back into it, and I took an acting class. And I thought, oh, yeah, wow, this is what I've been missing. This is what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I did that. I hopped into a couple classes. I landed in a theater, Hedgerow Theater in Media, PA, a great little place, and basically just started being a part of all their productions and got a lot of training there for about 2.5 years, and then ended up actually getting a full scholarship to go to Villanova, to get a master's in theater at Villanova. And at the last minute, I had some family stuff going on, and I had to drop out. And so I kind of lost that opportunity. But then a month later, I got asked to be in a movie. And from there, that was 2.5 years ago. All I've done is films for the past 2.5 years. So
what was that? What was that movie that you landed?
That one was called Booted.
Oh, okay. That's the I saw that. I think I saw that. That's about the guy that was. Was that it was like a homeless guy or a guy breaks down and he's like cooking hot dogs on his on his car.
Yeah, no, it's a great story. It's a great story written by this guy Derek Lindemann, and it's about this guy who he's just out of college. He's got a girlfriend. He's deeply in debt. She's kind of pissed that he's sitting around. And he doesn't have a job, and he's got all these unpaid parking tickets. And then he goes into the city to buy her a book, and his car gets booted by an angry meter maid played by Alan Ruck, who's Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah. He's a great guy. And so he plays this angry meter maid, and then this guy, in order to kind of win his girlfriend back, and he's got to get the boot off his car, so he starts selling hot dogs that he's cooking on his car. Pretty funny story, and I play the main homeless guy that he kind of befriends and helps him get through the day.
Yeah, I saw a little clip about it. I can't remember exactly what I was looking for. I think I was looking for like some stuff from down the road. Like I was trying to look for the trailer or whatever. But like through that, like on YouTube, somehow I came to. I guess it was that guy that. What's his name? The guy that plays that was Cameron in Ferris Bueller.
Alan Ruck.
Alan Ruck. Yeah, it was like him on. I think it was like Good Morning, something or another. But I guess it was like from that city. And it was like,
the Channel 10 morning show, yeah.
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 So I kind of looked. Oh no, I remember how I got to it now. I was looking at your IMDb page.
Oh, okay.
Actually, on there, it has it on your IMDb page in the related videos section.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But
yeah.
Well, what? Speaking of down the road, because that's kind of one of the reasons why you're on here for. How did you get involved with it? Because I remember Jason told us a story where I guess y'all had either met at a premiere or something for one of his earlier films, and you had like gotten there late or something and couldn't get in, but it was because of
right.
not getting in or something that y'all. How did that happen?
Yeah, it was funny. Well, the Philly filmmaking community is a pretty small community. I mean, small in terms of like there's lots of overlap. Everyone ends up knowing each other. And after I did Boot It, I was immediately asked to be in another film, kind of with half the people from Boot It involved, and then from there another film with another production team. But it was also kind of like a half the people that were involved in Boot It, and this other film were involved in that. So there's a lot of overlap. And at the point where Jay was making his first film, The Pendant, he was buddies with a friend of mine named Joey Raffa, he's a great director. He did a film called You'll Know My Name. He just finished a film called 6 Degrees of Hell. And I was hanging out with Joe, and he said, well, you want to go see Jay Mayer's film, The Pendant? So we actually met up there, and we're about to get in, and I think Jay had oversold it by like a couple hundred people were turned away. I think the theater sat like 400, and not everyone could get in. So it was kind of cool that he had that much publicity and that much exposure. But we ended up not getting in, but we kind of, I think we maybe had met before, but officially met there again. And he had known some of the stuff I had done. So when he teamed up with the production team, KFAT, who filmed it, Jay directed it, but they were the production crew that filmed it with a great DP named Joe Hennigan. Joe and his partner Roy have the production company KFAT, and they had made this movie Calendar Girl that I was in. So I'm not sure if it was Jay that called me in for the audition or it was those guys because they knew I was good. But either way, I got to come in and audition for the role of Hunter, which was a great role.
You still actually had to audition?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I guess they had never seen me do anything like that before, I think my previous roles I had been kind of funny, so he needed to know that I could be a mass murderer too.
Yeah, well, he kind of. I don't know if it was just the way I understood it or what, but he kind of led us to believe that he kind of had you in mind for it the whole time.
Yeah, he may have. I mean, for all I know, he may have, but I think they had to call me in and see me. So
this was like your first horror movie then.
Yes, yeah, and and the funny thing about it is that I've never really been into horror that much. I think when I was little, I'd watch a couple, and they just scared the hell out of me, so I just stayed away from them. Yeah. But actually making it, like being on the making end of it, gave me a whole new respect for the horror genre. Because it's fun, because when it sounds ridiculous, but when you're hitting someone over the head with a sledgehammer and you see blood come out, when you're on the making end of it, you realize, well, it's a fake sledgehammer and it's fake blood and brains, and it's just kind of it's a really fun thing to do as the maker of it. I'm not so sure what I think about seeing it, and not knowing what goes into making it, but I like it as an actor now. So actually just got finished.